All right, this conversation is brought to you by ITEL. I have Andrew Kagwa, an arts and culture journalist, and also Mr. AT NTV, who are already here to talk about the artists who are now grappling with the second lockdown. Yes, they've been largely under lockdown for the last 1 year or so, and they're still now grappling with the new guidelines that were introduced. It seems like that industry is still suffocating. But then most of the artists decided, since we are under lockdown, we can't, living no more, we are going back to school. Artists like Chameleon, yes, he did go back to Cavendish University to study international relations. You have Khalifa Aganaga, you have MC Jesse, you have Jologo, you have more of these artists who decided, I'm going to monetize my talents better. The key word is monetizing the talents better. And then you do have another set of new guidelines that have been introduced that largely called back the students to go back home. So where does that put the future of these artists who have decided to look at the plan B, which is education? Now education institutions are largely closed and the bars are still under lockdown. Are there any other avenues through which these artists could survive? That's why we have AT NTV and Andrew Kagwa, an arts and culture journalist with the Daily Monitor. Of course, AT NTV is the CEO of West Records. A very good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Romeo.
AT NTV, let me kick off with you. Artists are going back to school. This is good news, isn't it?
It's not, you can't call it good news because no artist is going back to school.
That was a setup. Okay.
Let's look at it this way. Let's start with Bobby Wine, who publicized going back to do law at
is it Kampala?
East African University, something.
IUEA.
International
University of East
International University of East Africa. There was so much publicity around his going back.
Yes.
But we never heard from the progress.
The graduation.
Okay.
Never took center
No,
stage.
forget the graduation. But
The classes.
the progress.
Yes.
It was none. Save for my friend Ronald Mayinja, when he developed political ambitions, he went back to KIU, did a diploma there. Then he went to Makerere University. He did a degree there. And
the landlord should leave you for now.
yeah. You see, the landlord thinks when I'm on NTV, there's a sack of money right outside the door.
You should help the
so,
beeping. Yes.
Geoffrey Rutaya
Indeed.
went back to get the equivalent of senior 6 or to get a senior 6 qualification.
So those were the genuine ones.
Yeah, the wife played about with it and her marks were so bad she couldn't even talk about it. They had something very interesting. Geoffrey Rutaya, Honorable Geoffrey Rutaya,
Yes.
the wife, and the son were all in class at the same time. You know, when you talk about Chameleon going back to school, Aganaga going back to school, what those two are doing, one is a student of the other. They are looking for something to grab news with, really, to pass them through this time. You know how
So it's about clout.
Yeah, it's about clout. You know, the king of music in Uganda, or the king of news in music in Uganda, is just a Chameleon. He will pull any stunt to keep on the front page. And people will eat into it because I can't believe Romeo is also taken on along. So if Romeo is taken on, then how many other normal Ugandans? But no musician is going back to school.
The main pointer here, Andrew Kagwa, was that is education being looked at as an option for these artists now that the bars are closed, now that they cannot hold concerts? Are they looking at education as that alternative that will give them that mileage to monetize their talents better?
It would be weird if they were looking at it that way. I mean, in school they used to tell us education is the future, but again they were talking about the future.
Yes.
And if COVID is here, you can't be looking at going back to school so that you can find ways of dealing with the situation that's happening right now. One, I would tell you that I would really like to have an educated industry, because I think one of the things we keep talking about is how it's a disadvantage that many of our artists are not informed, so they do not make very informed decisions.
Indeed.
And literally, one of the biggest reasons many of them are suffering right now is they didn't surround themselves with informed people, or they did not get informed themselves.
But they thought this might be a 2-week affair, 3 months affair.
Yeah,
there
was that. But again, even if they had known it's going to happen for 2 years, when we went into a lockdown on March 17th last year, probably that's the time many would have known I do not need my music going around for free. You remember there was a time when people were forcing artists not to give out their music for free, or there was a time where UPRS was actually telling people, we need to fight for your copyright, and people were telling them, those people you're trying to fight are actually promoting us. Because there was a situation where an artist told UPRS that let them have my music, I know how to deal with them. So we've been dealt with a lot of ignorance from the industry that I truly support having an educated industry, but at the moment I can tell you that many of them are going back to solve an existing problem. Like you need to be informed over time to deal with the problem. Like right now, like you said, I think many of them are trying to keep themselves relevant. And don't forget that one of the people you mentioned is a man who went as far as running for the office of the mayor.
The Lord Mayor, and he failed. Well, of course, to the hard-talking and lion-roaring Elias Lukwago. AT NTV.
Yes.
Could it be that the high illiteracy levels that are plaguing our music industry, like, is it the main reason why they are largely grappling with this lockdown? The fact that they are having high levels of illiteracy and they do not have maybe a spokesperson or learned people who can even egg on the policymakers within government to show them why this sector should be contributing highly to the country's GDP and should be operating. The high levels of illiteracy, is it why this sector is still under lockdown?
I said this so many times. Success or failure is not a one key issue. For someone to be successful,
You need to fail.
or for someone to be a failure, it's usually a combination of so many factors.
Indeed.
So one of the factors that most of our musicians are suffering right now, yes, it's illiteracy.
Indeed.
But it is not the sole reason. Because we have some illiterate people who are lucky to be very intelligent, and they've gone ahead and team up with educated, literate people to help them make very good professional decisions.
Surround yourself with knowledgeable people.
Exactly. And they are happy and okay, despite the lockdown effect. Okay? So my advice, I don't want to come here and critique our illiterate performing artists, musicians especially, and I leave them without a solution. My advice is, times are tough, and this cuts across. Okay? In the music industry, the best thing to do right now is sit down, look at the team you're working with, find a financial advisor,
Professional manager.
find a tax consultant, find a legal advisor, and find a business manager. Someone who understands a bit of music and understands how to market you so that you can look for ways to survive with or without lockdown. I would go a little further. I'm not trying to do PR for someone or market someone, but look for the Elijah Chitakas of this world. Look for Feza, because this is someone who loves music,
He does.
who knows about music, and he knows about digital marketing as one of the avenues to use to make money for an artist without holding the microphone.
Look out for him, Elijah.com. So, Andrew Kagwa, if education is okay, you're saying education is the solution, right?
No.
Okay, if
I'm
education is
saying
not the... if
it
education,
cannot be an immediate solution. Going back to school right now doesn't change anything. Education always helps you in the long run.
True.
But right now, okay, like literally what
right
he's saying,
now, it won't help that much.
right now,
So what should they do?
cannot really go back to school right now to solve a problem that's happening right now. So partly what he has talked about is what people need to do. And
Look out for the Elijah Chitakas of this world.
Yes, and-
ElijahChitaka.com.
and of course, most of the times when you come here, we talk about the importance of having management that's really managing you, professional management. Truth is, today is the time for artists to understand that there is more to them than just the song and the performance.
Yeah.
This is the time for someone to understand that they a brand, and as a brand, they are a business. Because world over right now, many artists are just making money off their personal brands. You have artists that have a very big following, which means they can easily pitch themselves to a company or something to work, to do things with these companies, either through a song, either just using their personal brands, becoming brand ambassadors. Like the other time I noticed, these, there are three telephone makers that are literally running the East African market. They have the biggest market share. That's Techno, ITEL, Infinix. Like, it's one company, but they make these franchise of phones. And these people got ambassadors from East Africa, and none of these ambassadors is Ugandan. So personally, I think any person who has a following right now, they should be looking for such deals. They should be trying to tap into such spaces.
Go ahead.
Maybe just I'll just chip in a bit there. To be fair to the artists, to our artists out there, I gave you the example of Elijah Chitaka, but we have two new companies that I've learnt about, which are, I've visited these companies. They are looking more serious than what we've been having.
Indeed.
These are new record labels. One is called CRK Planet. Strange enough, they're all in Machindi. I think they set up in Machindi because there are a lot of musicians in the area.
Indeed.
Check out CRK Planet. They might sort you out. Check out Voices and Beats. They might help
Voices and Beats.
You understand? These chaps, all they're doing, all they're promising is come, we manage your business, we get you on the track professionally. Professionally. Our artists today are suffering because they are not running music professionally.
Let's look at the long term, not only the short term. Of course, the short term is largely curtailed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's look at the long term and not look at the artists as individuals. When we say artists going back to school, we are looking at education as a whole, the impact it might have on the music sector when these artists actually graduate. Do you think there can be an impact?
If our artists can go back to school, definitely.
Indeed.
Education is good, as a matter of fact. And there's a saying, I'll say it in Luganda, nti atasoma lwamanya nti yasoma alina kyamusinga lwatandika okutegeera. I have a friend of mine keeps saying that, literally meaning that the moment when an educated or an illiterate person realizes that an educated person has something better, that's when the illiterate person starts understanding. I'll literally translate it that.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes, it would be good if our artists could go back to school, because there's always something that you pick up in that classroom, and it will be better. It will help to better your understanding and judgment and
of the industry.
of the industry, actually not of the
Of life
industry,
generally, I think.
of business. Because maybe if you go back and study the right course as well, it will help you understand that the better ways of
Doing business.
And it might help you understand that
What you actually deserve.
you are a business. You know, there are two entities. There is the person, okay, Andrew Kagwa, and then there is the musician, the businessman. So maybe you make better decisions. You get it?
Indeed.
So yes, for the long term, I would advise our musicians, if they can, please don't force it.
Indeed.
And please don't
Use
do
it for
stunts around it. Okay? Go back and study really if you can. But try to look at the team that you're working with. That is very, very important.
In the short term.
No, even in the long term. You know,
As you embark on your
having a
education,
team of
as you
10
embark on your education, but also look at the team that you're having.
with or without going back to school, the most important thing for any performing artist today, for both short term and long term, is look at the team of people you're working with.
Of course, those professionals will help you understand what you deserve. People like Tilly Kamara, she's a booking agent. She'll be able to tell you, okay, you're going to do a concert in the United Kingdom. This is how much they have to be paying you. But if you're going to use another middleman, they'll actually even pay you in shillings and they bank the rest of the money in dollars. Jeff Chiwa. Eddie Sandy and Andrew Kagwa, we are still having such a wonderful conversation. Illiteracy in the music industry. Could it be the reason why many of these multinational companies are taking advantage of our artists? They're using their music as ringtones and they're not giving them a shilling. In Mbale here, in Lumasaba, you have so many artists producing music in Lumasaba and it's being used as ringtones, but none of that money is going back to the artists. Illiteracy again.
I could.
Those who are learned are now taking advantage.
It's a two-way thing. Those many artists, you need to look back at why people join the industry. There are people that are learned, but they join the industry to become famous. Like,
so just for visibility.
Yeah,
they'll be happy to have their song as a ringtone.
Yeah, but maybe they don't even know they should be paid.
That's what we're saying.
Because,
knowing better.
There are people that actually used to pay, not used to pay, that are still paying websites to upload their music and use it for free because they believe those websites are promoting them. As long as very many people do not understand the kind of business they are dealing with, these things are expected to happen. So one of the main reasons why people are being exploited, true, some are very illiterate, they do not know the necessary information, but then you need to look back at how they got into the industry. Do they understand the industry they came into? Do they appreciate how this industry works? Or do they even know how to make money out of this industry?
Did I join the industry because I was passionate from a young age, or did I join simply because I felt to look for a job and find one? So I decided, well, let me join the music industry.
There are many that joined because they were walking around with Chameleon for too long, and so they felt like they can do it. And when they joined, they started doing everything Chameleon was doing, even if some of the things he was doing at that time were not so right. So how people join the industry really represents how we are being treated. And of course, it's also a fact that in this country, people have always thought art is for uneducated people. And maybe that influences on the way they end up treating the industry and how they deal with the industry.
That's why if you look at a jurisdiction like Makinde, it has many of the artists, but then it's also a jurisdiction grappling with high levels of unemployment, meaning the alternative for many of these young people is music. Go to a studio, come up with a hit. You do not even know what kind of genre you want to do, but you just know you want to produce a song. Couldn't this be the reason why we are actually touting education as a better platform through which these people might be able to understand themselves better? What kind of genre am I good at? You have artists who will do Chidandali today, they'll do hip-hop tomorrow, and they'll do another genre tomorrow because they're looking for what is actually working for the people and not what is coming from their hearts. Eddie Sandy.
Well, the challenge we have is
If you look at
there's no sieving.
Gravitomo Tuju, what kind of genre is it?
Well,
Is it
he says he does hip hop.
Is it Chidandali?
He does hip hop, and that's how he's got his own.
But seriously, you've listened to the songs.
Yes, he's got his own.
Are there any punchlines in the?
He's got his own.
Are there any bars in those songs?
He says it's hip hop.
He says he does his own version of
Andy.
hip hop. But the challenge we have is because there's no sieve on who should come in and who shouldn't. That's why we have some of the problems. And for me, I try not to look at who has come, how has the person coming. Because, yeah, we've been surprised by some who came in, and you would think what they are doing won't help them last a year, and 3-4 years down the road, we are still together.
Yeah.
I'll give an example of John Black.
Yes.
When John Black came, everybody said, Kasiru ayogedde. You know? Erona agenda kuchikirira bakasiru. We all laughed about it.
And he had a lifespan of 1 year.
And everybody thought, don't bother about that one. But dude, yes, the guy is here. And I have booked him. I've booked him several times at a place that I promote called Georgina Gardens in Luvia. And yes, people were eating out of his palm. You know? And I think he's already 3-4 years in the industry, still going strong. So, if we had a sieving mechanism, I'm sure he wouldn't have passed through the sieve. So we would have lost that talent. So what am I saying here? Fine, let all come. But please, when you come, be professional. And accept one thing, that you are ignorant. It is hard to accept, but accept it. And try to look for the best ways to get in the business, understand the business, or get people to help you understand the business. Stop keeping a bunch of illiterates around you, praising you, and taking away from you, but not adding to you.
So you need a professional manager who will add visibility onto your resume for many years.
Not a bag boy, but to boost the bag boy's ego, you call him a manager. You see so many so-called managers, they can't even hold a conversation in English for 2 minutes. Not that speaking English is the epitome of
indeed knowledge and
knowledge, but how will you negotiate with the marketing manager of Africell, who is Lebanese? I'm giving that as an example.
I hear you.
You understand? How will you...
Let's use ITEL. TechNote is sponsored by ITEL.
Oh, yeah, exactly. How will you convince the business development director of ITEL that your artist is big
and
in
should be
Uganda
sponsored by the company
and can be a good brand ambassador, when you can't hold a conversation in English?
No, I hear you.
For 3 minutes. Do you get it?
Indeed.
But you are good at
and carrying the CD.
And carrying around the CD, and then listening into radio talk shows and saying, gundi akwogedeko bubi echakoza kuye. You know,
so they circulate rumors instead.
They do more harm than good to their artists. So, as a performing artist, what you should be doing, get professional people to help you manage your business, so that you can earn better out of your talent.
All right, Andrew Kagoye can give us your addition to his submission and also talk to us about artists within politics. People like Robert Chagulanyi. Do you think they'll use Robert Chagulanyi? You have Godfrey Lotaya, Judith Babidie. Do you think these artists can use their positions to actually rally or lobby for their electorates? Or not even just the electorates, but the music industry? Because that is the main focus. So you are one of our own. You've entered parliament. You're now in government. You're a politician of some sort, but you have a background in music. Do you think these individuals who now wield power can actually go a long way in helping alleviate the challenges affecting the music industry? Can they lobby for them?
Our own?
Are they one of their own?
Yes, because I mean...
more questions than answers.
One of the things... That question kept coming up during the campaigns.
Indeed.
And one of the things we asked was, you want these people to go and say things for you, but when they were going in these places, did they get any endorsement from the industry?
That's
for instance, did we ever see one of these bodies? Because we have a couple of bodies, like there is WOMA, which is the Association for Artists. They are the bodies that represent artists. It's like none of these bodies actually came out to endorse any artist who was trying to get into parliament.
Because they didn't think they would win, actually.
There is that, but then there is the fact that many people are trying to play it safe. So once these people have actually made it to the parliament, and then you expect them to represent your views instead of the views of the people that actually sent them, who in Geoffrey Retire's case, the people of Calcutta, like, the artists will be baffled. So yes, I do not believe these artists are going to lobby for them, because they have their people to cater for. They have people that send them who have also different needs that need to be catered for.
So these individuals entered politics over personal interests and not to front anything national, or even the things that are plaguing the industry.
There are very many people.
Personal.
There are very many people that actually went into politics for personal reasons. Then there are people that went into politics for activism purposes, which activism had nothing to do with the industry itself. But again, when you look at the people that went into politics, how much do these people understand the business that is music or art itself?
Mr. Eddie Sandy, I joined the journalism industry simply because I wanted to shed a light on so many of the ills that took center stage in this country since I was born, and since when I started understanding the machinations of how the world works. I saw extrajudicial killings, some on the hands of government, police killing young people over some unscrupulous charges. And I also saw skyrocketing cases of poverty. I saw young girls get pregnant at the age of 10 on the account of their relatives, not even strangers from outside. So I was like, you know what, when I grow up, I'm going to be the journalist that sheds a light on all these ills that are taking center stage within my country, corruption here and there. But then if you look at most of the politicians who were once musicians and entering the political circles, do you think at the back of their mind they have the heart of the industry? Yes, in their minds, as one of the industries that they want to rectify or work on with their new offices? Or is it just personal? I just want to be there, you know, amass wealth and so forth.
I don't want to look like I'm attacking our musicians that have gone to parliament.
Yeah.
But I will say this as a matter of fact.
Do you think they have the interests of this industry at heart?
Yes, they individually have. They do. But let's first sort out something.
Okay.
The majority of our politicians today, the majority went into politics to eat. The majority. Musicians, doctors, lawyers, carpenters.
So not only artists.
Social scientists, name it.
Politics is about money.
Majority went in to eat. That is why many spent a lot of money to get in there.
Which they have to get back to recoup.
Which they have to get back. So, two, a lot of our politicians have their masters already before getting there. Let's be realistic. We have Geoffrey Lutaya, we have Honorable Geoffrey Lutaya, we have Honorable Hilary Chiaga, aka Dr. Hildeman. We have my very good friend, Honorable Kayemba Solo, former manager of Rema Namakula.
Who is also thinking about going back to school because her husband, Sebunya, graduated in medicine.
Please, Romeo, stop that crap.
Rema Namakula
let her not tell us that
be
crap.
going back to school because I have the inspiration.
Let Rema not tell us that crap, please. Where did she draw the inspiration in the first place? From her village boyfriend or what? Such that she's now drawing the inspiration from her husband. Let her just go back to school if she wants to go back. She took, I think, a dead year while pursuing some degree in Chambogo University.
To go to Gargamel and back up Bebeku.
Yeah. She's had a very good career. She's a very good musician, I have to accept. If she wants to go back to school, let her just go back to school. We will congratulate her upon her graduation.
Okay, exhaust your point.
Yes, not looking for relevancy and scoop writing about her. You know, Kagwa writes about such stuff. Or my show that I do with my mates on Dembe FM.
Talk and talk.
Talk and talk show to talk about her. No, let her go to school if she wants.
Okay.
Yeah. But
she should let us know when she graduates. Go ahead.
The three people I mentioned came from the NUP.
Yes.
Okay? And already they have to serve their master that brought them.
Yes.
Not
the
industry, which didn't support them, which did bring them. I have another good friend of mine, Rachel Magora. She's an NRM member of parliament. Okay? I'm sure she's holding the NRM manifesto under her armpit. Besides serving her people in Busoga, she's looking at the NRM manifesto because it's NRM that brought her.
So ideally, the artists should not expect anything from their musicians who are in parliament.
Anything from the artists, and history has shown us already. We've had a former minister, Chebako Zemadada. He was a member of parliament for so many years and even a minister. He did nothing for art. We had Honorable former ICT minister Nyombi Tembo. He was an artist. He did nothing. We had an artist who was in parliament but sat in there just for a couple of days. He was on the run most of the time. And a friend of mine, by the way, Ali Ndaura, he did nothing. We had Judith Babiri, we had Honorable Sematimba Peter. They all did nothing for the industry. So when you look at history, please put your hopes elsewhere.
All right, Eddie Sandy, and with that, we've come to the end of this conversation. That wouldn't be wise not to give you some parting last shots on the same point, which is artists who have joined politics and whether or not that favor shall go back to their friends whom they left behind.
Okay, the last thing I'll say is one, when these people were still artists, by the time many people joined politics, their fellow artists was saying that they were failed artists. There is that thing where people usually say people join politics because they are failed, because they are tired. So if you think a failed artist is going to reach parliament and help you, please wake up.
Indeed. Andrew Kagwa is an arts and culture journalist. Eddie Sandy is the CEO of West Records. Both gentlemen have a wealth of information on the subject and have been very helpful right here on this show. Thank you very much for coming through. And indeed, to you who has been watching since 6:30 a.m., we do not take that lightly. That undeterred love and support, yes, we do cherish it. My name is Romeo Bisiku. Let's take a breather. Return shortly with a surprise.